This video was recorded at the Spring Institute, March 2021. Our guest speaker in this video is Gregor Wolbring, Associate Professor at the Cummings School of Medicine, University of Calgary.
AA can also be used to enable, right? Equity, diversity, and inclusion is, right, in Anglo-Saxon universities is used a lot around employment equity, which is under the assumption that that would enable certain marginalized groups. Also, how it's used actually disables disabled people, right? Sustainable development as a concept was coined to, right, give a narrative of better ability expectations humans have of nature, and of course the capability approach. And then we have, right, many concepts within ability studies one can use. And all these things here, right? I don't know where to put them. Ability, identity, security is one concept. One is accepted with one set of abilities, and one is not forced physically or by circumstance to accept a perception of oneself one does not agree with. And then ability, identity, abuse. Others negate one's ability, identity, security. And reality is most discourses, right, define us within a medical framework. So therefore, you do not really have ability, identity, security. You can't be at ease with yourself if you are seen as a defective product by default without you having the ability to choose your identity. One example, right, when you go on Google and Google Scholar, and then you have, for example, words like Down syndrome and genetic risk a lot, right? Which means, right, if you are, right, getting pregnant at an older age, then you're having a risk, a higher risk of having a child with Down syndrome. That's, of course, a judgment. That's not factual. Factual is you have a higher probability, not a higher risk. But whenever I use that slide, especially in my medical faculty, they don't even see the problem by using risk. It's so ingrained to see disabled people within a risk framework and many other, of course, abilities. But you have no identity here, right, security if you're seen as a risk factor. And then, right, efforts to do a positive definition like this one from the Canadian Down Syndrome Society, of course, won't work. Right, when it says Down syndrome is a natural occurring chromosomal arrangement that has always been a part of the human condition. Down syndrome is not a disease, disorder, defect, or medical condition. It is inappropriate and offensive to refer to people with Down syndrome as afflicted with or suffering from it. Well, if you're a risk factor, this definition doesn't work. The second one is ability security, meaning that one has a chance for a decent life independent of one's abilities. And that is actually right at the root of a lot of the conflicts we have in the moment, like Brexit and so on and so on. When we're looking here at the table, this is the household data on employment in the US. It comes out every month. It's very nice, but it shows you how bad the situation is for disabled people. Look at the participation rate on the bottom. Right, for disabled people, July 2019, the employment number was 36.5%, whereas for non-disabled people, it's 84%. The unemployment number does not tell the story because unemployment number assumes you have to look for work. And the majority of disabled people in the US don't even bother looking for work because they can't get it anyway, right? So, and we actually looked at and we found numbers for employment from 1906 in the New York Times, and that was actually roughly the same as participation rate. So actually hasn't changed in the US in the last 100 years. And with, right, artificial intelligence and so on, you will see that these numbers will be even becoming more problematic in robotics, but we are never part of the discourse. And there are some papers of mine which show that. The third one I want to say is ability inequity. An unjust or unfair distribution of access to and protection from abilities generated through human intervention. War, for example, and it's not just for disabled people. War, Desmond Tutu uses the term apartheid, adaptation apartheid, talking about this, where says, well, some people, right, do stuff with consumerism, lead to climate change, and the ones who get on the receiving end of the negative consequences, like the Pacific Islands, have no means to actually deal with that, right? And it's an unjust or unfair judgment of abilities intrinsic to biological structures, such as the human body. And so one can apply this to everyone, food insecurity, and all of these too, right? Of ability inequity beyond disabled people, resilience, right? Self-sufficiency, right? These are done so that so the problem becomes you, right? And the society doesn't have to change, right? Then, I mean, noted these two terms. And that's it. That's, I mean, our right stuff we sell. So we can go to Bora Bora as my student group. And these are just the references. Everything is online and also with audio. So if someone wants to follow up on it.
Thanks very much for watching. You can like and subscribe to our channel below. We're currently working on a British Academy funded project looking at the lived experience of disabled people during the pandemic. And you can find out what we're up to at tendproject.com or on Twitter at tendproject. Thank you.